I'm Hanny XOXO and welcome to or back to my channel. It's market season, so today I want to finally continue my market retro recap series where I fill y'all in on my experience, results, bestsellers, and all that good stuff from the 4 markets that I previously participated in as a crochet plushie vendor. I already made a video recapping my very first market. I posted that a whopping 6 months ago, and I'll have that one linked in the info cards if y'all want to check that video out as well. But in today's video, we're gonna be looking back at my second market, the Butterfly Festival. I'll fill y'all in on all the nitty-gritty details of the event, of course including how much I made and what plushies sold. Oh, and by the way, just before we get into things, if y'all are curious about what's going on behind me, these are actually my 3 cutie little guinea pig daughters who I love so much, Rodney, Holly, and Kelly, and you'll probably be seeing their sweet, cute little faces throughout this video, but y'all also might be hearing some crazy noises that they make. So sorry, we'll try to keep the noises to the minimum, but if y'all are hearing anything out of the ordinary, that's probably where it's coming from. So sit back, relax, grab your yarn and hook, and enjoy this tale of the Butterfly Festival. The Butterfly Festival was a small market that took place in May of 2025 at a super cute little church, and the festival was, well, exactly what it sounds like, all about butterflies. Some booths were informational, teaching people all about butterflies and what we can do to help them. Other booths sold butterfly-specific items. I was personally very excited to purchase a milkweed plant at this event. And of course, there were other booths, like mine, offering handcrafted goods. None of the other booths there were selling crochet items though, so I was very thankful to have the crochet plushie monopoly at this event. They also offered free entertainment and activities like live music, free kids crafts, and inside of the church they were holding informational monarch sessions, which I honestly wish I would have gotten the chance to go to, but I unfortunately was not able to leave the booth. It was just overall a very nice and chill event. The weather though was, however, super gloomy, which definitely I feel did affect the turnout. However, it was still overall such a fun and great time. I'm very happy that I decided to participate. This market was 4 hours long from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and we ended up paying a $100 booth fee for a 10 by 10 foot spot. And all of the booth spots were very clearly marked out with chalk and also planned out very well, which is always greatly appreciated at a market. I don't believe that this market did offer any actual tables or canopies or even canopy rentals or anything like that. I do believe you had to bring all of your own items, which of course was fine for us. We ended up having 2 6-foot tables, 1 4-foot table, and of course we had our canopy as well. And for those who are new here, I use a TY Beanie Baby display. I know it's actually called a Tie Beanie Baby display, but I just say TY. I'm sorry if anyone's nitpicky about that. But that's my main way to display my plushies, so of course I brought that with me as well. Other than the weather, which obviously was out of the event organizer's control, there were only a few downsides to this event. My first problem, which is honestly more of a confusion about what happened at this event, but there were supposed to be food trucks and somehow not one of them showed up. So not really sure what happened with that. I don't know if maybe it was a legal issue, if they couldn't get the right permits, insurances, whatever it might be. But basically, there were no food trucks there, and they were definitely supposed to be there and were definitely advertised as being there. So that was pretty unfortunate. It just made it hard on us since obviously we were not able to get anything to eat at the event, and also potential customers, if they got hungry, they may have had to leave the event early since there weren't food trucks there. But also, I guess it could potentially be a positive because maybe people wanted to spend more money on merchandise since there wasn't food to spend money on. I don't really know, y'all. I guess we'll never know. My second annoyance with this event was the chaos of the loading in and out. No one was there to control or direct the loading in and out. It was pretty much just first come, first serve, and cars were able to stay parked there for as long as they pretty much wanted to. Long story short, we should have arrived at the event earlier because every single spot close to the booths was already taken. No one was about to move their car anytime soon, so we ended up having to park at the very bottom of a hill. So I ended up having to carry everything up the hill while wearing my platform boots, and that is when I learned to always bring a good pair of shoes to these markets with ya, because I know they seem super fun and cutesy, and let's be honest, usually they are, but they're also no joke, y'all. Unloading was the same situation. People pulled their cars up immediately when the event ended. Honestly, I think they might have even pulled their cars up a little earlier before the event ended, if I am remembering correctly. And they stayed parked in those spots for at least an hour after the event ended. I don't know how much longer after that, because I was already gone by then, but they were there for a long time. You just really gotta be a shark at these events, and that is just simply not who I am. And finally, my biggest gripe was the lack of advertising for this event. I did have really high hopes for the marketing of this event going into it, because in previous years it had been advertised super well. It even got segments in the local news, and let's just say I set my expectations way too high, because they definitely did not put that much time and energy into the advertising of it this year. The event was just not advertised well at all, and on the few online ads they did have, for some reason, the date was listed wrong on every single one of them. The whole time, these ads even had me thinking that the market was on a Sunday, but it was actually on a Saturday. So I don't really know how that error happened, but I think that that definitely could have affected the turnout. But overall, I would still consider this market a success for us, because we honestly just had so much fun at it. Even just me being able to get that milkweed plant, because I'd already been wanting one for such a long time, so I was just so happy to get to make that fun little purchase. But I'll let y'all decide if it was a success or not. Let's get into all of my actual results and data and the nitty-gritty details, my favorite part of the market. First, I'll go through everything I brought to the market versus everything that actually sold. And of course, as always, all patterns that I mention will be linked down below in the description for y'all. First up is axolotls. I brought 2 axolotls and I sold them both for $8 each. I brought 2 baby bunnies and sold none. I brought 2 baby chicks and sold neither. I brought 2 bees and didn't sell either of them. I brought 3 butterflies and sold all 3 for $10 each. I brought 5 bunny keychains and sold 0. I brought 2 of the booty turtles and sold 1 for $13. It was a mushroom variation. I brought 1 chicken nugget and sold it for $8. I brought 5 chickens and sold 1 for $8. I brought 1 Chonkemon and sold it for $10. I brought 5 colorful eggs and sold none. I brought 8 scrunchies and sold 5 for $5 each. I brought 1 dragon priced at $25 and he did not sell. I brought a ducky in a pink cowgirl hat and she did not sell. I brought 6 loaf kittens and sold 4 for $10 each. I brought 6 baby octos and sold 2 for $5 each. I brought 6 baby sea turtles and sold 1 for $5. I brought 6 baby stingrays and sold 1 for $5. I brought 1 mini triceratops and sold it for $8. I brought 2 pearl crosses and sold none. I brought 1 penguin and he did not sell. I brought 2 pocket frogs and neither sold. I brought 1 snake and it sold for $15. I brought 1 stretching bunny. I put a $25 price tag on her and she did not sell. I brought 1 tiny loaf kitty and it did not sell. I brought 2 unicorns and sold them both for $13 each. And lastly, I brought a large butterfly gnome to use as an attention grabbing piece. I put a $45 price tag on him and he did not sell, but he definitely did do his job of getting attention. So in total, I brought 76 items with me and 26 of those items sold. In other words, a third of my inventory, or 33% of what I brought, sold. And if you're wondering what that works out to in terms of actual money made and profit, all that good stuff, I did bring $532 worth of product with me to this event, and I ended up selling $186 worth of product minus that booth fee. My rough profit, without counting like my materials and all that kind of stuff, would be $86. But luckily for me, I do my markets with my mother-in-law who has a scrunchie and bead business, so we always just split our booth fees in half. So instead of paying the full $100 booth fee, I actually only paid $50 for the booth fee. So that raises my profits to $136. I guess excluding that $11 milkweed plant that I just had to have, that would bring my profits to $125. And now for a quick summary of my bestsellers in case y'all are wanting to know my customers' spring faves. My 5th bestseller was axolotls. I brought 2 of them and sold them both for $8 each for a total of $16, and I really do wonder how much I actually could have made off of axolotls if I would have brought more with me. My 4th bestseller was scrunchies. I brought 8 of them and sold 5 of them for $5 each for a total of $25. I was super excited to see that my scrunchies made the bestsellers list because I actually missed out on a sale at my very first market. A woman was really wanting crochet scrunchies. That's all she wanted to buy, and I wasn't making them yet at the time, but you can bet yourself that that was the reason why I made 8 crochet scrunchies for this butterfly festival. So I was super happy that I did sell 5 of the scrunchies. I was just so happy to see my research, you might say, pay off. Now I know that so many people love the crochet scrunchies, not just that one woman at that one market. My 3rd bestseller was unicorns. I brought 2 with me, sold them both for $13 each, a total of $26. And this is another item that I just really wonder how many I actually could have sold if only I would have brought more. My 2nd bestseller was butterflies. I took 3 of them with me and sold out of them for $10 each, a total of $30. It's not too surprising to me that these were one of my best sellers, as it was a butterfly festival, and I definitely do wish that I would have brought more with me. And just a little side note, I'm especially happy that these made my best sellers list because I am very much a follow the pattern to a T type of girly, and this was actually the first ever plushies that I made following my very own pattern that I wrote and did everything for. So honestly, just such a proud moment to see that all of my little butterfly babies sold out. And finally, the moment we've all been waiting for, my number 1 bestseller at the Butterfly Festival was Loaf Kittens! I brought 6 Loaf Kittens and sold 4 for $10 each, a total of $40. And honestly, y'all, I was so happy to even sell just 1 loaf cat. All 6 of the cats that I took to this butterfly festival with me, I had actually already taken to my very first market with me. And if y'all can connect the dots on that, it basically just means I sold 0 Loaf kittens at my first market. So I was super nervous that this was gonna repeat at the Butterfly Festival. I was worried that this was a trend with the Loaf cats. Maybe people are over it. They've been overdone, which honestly just made me so sad because Loaf cats are honestly one of the only low-sew patterns that I actually have fun with and don't get bored of. So I was just so thrilled to see that my Loaf cats were flying off the shelves, and that just really reinforced to me that my first market was just a fluke. People still love the Loaf cats. Overall, I do wish that I would have had, of course, more time to just crochet more items. I also wish that I maybe would have had less one-off items, maybe planned out my inventory a bit better. I feel like if maybe I would have had more inventory and less one-off items, I maybe would have had some more clearer bestsellers, but of course, every market is just a learning experience for the next. And now for all my pessimists out there, we gotta go over my worst sellers, and on this list, I will be leaving off those one-off items, as well as any leftover holiday items that I brought to this market, like bunnies, chicks, eggs, anything like that, since those were very much out of season for the Butterfly Festival. Starting with my worst seller, turtles, because I only sold 1 out of the 2 cheeky turtles that I brought with me. I also only sold 1 out of the 6 baby sea turtles that I brought with me. So people were definitely not feeling the turtles at the Butterfly Festival, and actually that leads us right into my next worst seller, which is just the baby sea creatures in general. Other than that 1 baby sea turtle that I sold, I also only sold 1 out of my 6 baby stingrays and 2 out of my 6 baby octos. And the final item on my worst sellers list is chickens. I brought 5 of them with me, only sold 1. Womp womp. I was actually so surprised to see that both turtles and chickens made my worst sellers list, because turtles and chickens were actually my best sellers at my very first market. That's why I made sure to have such a good stock of those items at this Butterfly Festival, but I guess the people at the Butterfly Festival were just not the target audience for turtles and chickens. Who would have thunk? As for the baby sea creatures, I was honestly so shocked at first that they didn't sell well, because I thought that those would just be like a really good $5 impulse purchase. But after really reflecting on the market, and honestly, especially with the help of my fiance, who's just super good at marketing and customer service and all that good stuff, I came to the realization that I just put the baby sea creatures in a really bad spot. Again, I use a TY Beanie Baby display to display my plushies at markets, and I, not so smartly, decided to put the baby sea creatures pretty up high. I put them in the second tier from the top, which is about 4 feet above the ground. And the problem with doing that is that my main target audience for my plushies, especially the little $5 ones, is definitely children who happen to be under 4 feet tall. So since I placed those baby sea creatures 4 feet above the ground, obviously kids could not see them, so therefore they didn't sell. And in case I seem a bit too confident about my theory, I actually, spoiler alert, have tested it at future markets, y'all, and let me just tell y'all, those babies definitely be selling out if they're in a spot where kids can actually see them. And now for some market knowledge, because I really did learn a thing or two from this market, and I would love to share some helpful market tips with y'all now. Number 1, use height and use it well. Like I just told y'all, I had my baby sea creatures placed way too up high and ended up only selling 4 out of the 18 that I brought with me. Of course, we can't be 100% sure that those baby sea creatures would have sold better if I would have had them at a lower tier, since unfortunately I can't go back in the past and redo this whole market. But again, I have tested my theory at other markets, and I just definitely definitely think they would have sold better if I would have strategically placed them better. This does not at all mean that using height is bad though. I definitely think that everyone should be using height for their market displays because it can just really add more dimension to your booth, allow people to see all your products more clearly. And it's also great to have large attention grabbing pieces placed up high. For example, that large butterfly gnome that I brought with me, because big pieces like that can definitely attract customers into your booth. And tip number 2 is to consider doing custom orders if you don't already do them. At the time of this market, I was not doing custom orders yet, but I ended up receiving so many specifically custom scrunchie and snake requests at this event that I ended up giving out my business cards and let people know to contact me if they did want to do a custom order. And I actually did receive one custom order inquiry, but unfortunately at the time I did not know how to use Instagram at all, especially not how to see my message request, and so I didn't end up seeing their message until months after they wanted the item, sadly. So I guess a little mini tip that may seem obvious, but is not, I guess at least for me, is definitely just make sure you know how to use and access your DMs on every single thing that you do have listed on your business cards, because someone could contact you through any of those ways. I was being naive and just assumed that when I told people to contact me, they would do it through email. But of course, we live in the day and age of social media. I should know. So definitely just make sure you know how to use all your DMs, check your message request, all that. But starting out by doing custom orders in person through markets, only doing custom orders for people in your area can also just be a really good way of getting into custom orders if that is something that you are wanting to do in the future long term online. Because if you start out with local customers, you could potentially just hand deliver their items, make sort of like deals with them through emails and DM. You don't have to worry about any back end stuff, so that can just be a really easy way to get used to custom orders and get in the groove of that. Moving on to tip number 3, keep making more product, because you can never have enough product. And if you've ever attended a market and really truly felt like, oh my gosh, I'm so prepared and I have enough product and I'm here and ready for this, can you just rub some of your amazing positive energy off onto me? Because I just really cannot crochet fast enough. I never feel like I have enough items. And tip number 4, if your event is themed, go all in. I'm so happy that I decided to 1, create that little butterfly pattern, and 2, make at least 3 of them to take to this market with me, because again, they all sold out so fast. I definitely wish that I would have brought even more with me, because people were definitely on the hunt for butterfly items at this event. Another example of this that I have is the Pride festivals that I do, because those are usually my biggest events of the year, and my best sellers at those are always rainbow themed items. No surprise there. Basically, if your market has a theme, definitely just go all in on making products that fit the theme, because that's probably what people are trying to shop for. And my 5th and final tip is to not let one market completely change up your entire product mix. Yes, it is super great to use your past market results for what I like to call research of planning your future markets. I mean, that's how I ended up making $25 off of scrunchies at this market. But if I would have completely listened to the results from my very first market and just completely cut the Loaf cats out of my product mix, I would be down $40 at this market. So definitely super important to use your past market info to strategically plan for your future markets, but don't let your results, either good or bad, from just one market completely change up everything and end up being your end all be all for your best and worst sellers. Finally, would I do this market again? And yes, I definitely would. Even though it was a lot of work for not too much profit, it was still such a fun time and a great experience. Maybe it's just because I had really poor results from my first market and I didn't really enjoy my experience there either that made this market just feel so much more optimistic. Or maybe it was just because I wanted a milkweed plant so freaking bad and was very happy to be able to support a local grower. Or maybe it's just because I did write my very first pattern ever to use at this event, and my little butterflies ended up completely selling out. Not gonna lie, that was a very proud moment for me, y'all. So, for many reasons, I'm really happy that I did do this market. I would do it again. Honestly, I did not sign up for this market again this year, and that's just because I already have other markets lined up for the year, but I totally would do this market again. And that brings us to the end of the Butterfly Festival recap. I hope that y'all enjoyed hearing all about my Butterfly Festival. Definitely make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below if you did. And this is only the second of my retro market recaps. I still have 2 summer markets left to recap, and it's market season right now. So I got lots of fun markets, a market prep, all that good stuff coming up. I can't wait to do some actual real market vlogs. Definitely hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for lots of market fun. Make sure to leave me a comment down below letting me know your thoughts, or if you don't have any thoughts, but you still want to leave me some support, leave a butterfly emoji in the comments to let me know that you made it all the way to the end of the video. I would really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope y'all had fun because I had such a blast reminiscing on this butterfly festival with all y'all. And as always, have a magical rest of your day. Bye-bye. And here goes Holly deciding to drink water very loudly. Thank you, Holly.